Thank you so much.
Wow, finally, great to
I'm
meet you.
likewise.
So, Vardhan,
Also, I'm really sorry for the echo. It's like I'm in like a faculty room, so it's like quite noisy here.
not a problem at all, Vardhan. The whole purpose of People Tribe is to have conversation, and we don't mind people around. Right, this is not a formal
Yeah,
talk. That it is just an initiative
true.
to know each other. I mean, I have been fortunate to really interact with the people with diverse distinct background, and I am a follower of Project Up, Vardhan. And Vardhan, I'm truly amazed.
Wow.
You really are living up to your name. I mean, you are bringing smile to the children through the welfare work that you do through this thing, Project Up. So you are the founder of Project Up, is what I know. And Reena Mahajan too wanted me to speak to you. I don't know. I became a follower first, or Reena Mahajan recommended me to talk to you. But I was really curious as to how do you bring these smiles. I've seen the post. I am really curious to know how do you bring smiles to these children. I know you have a very small team, and you've started very very early. And congratulations on your partnership with UNESCO New Delhi.
Thank you. So, first of all, thank you so much for the nice words. Um, I think the only one line sentence to how the smiles actually happen is through a lot of passion and through a lot of compassion.
True, true.
So honestly speaking, at Project Up, 99.9% work is pro bono. So we just pay like very 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 few people. So the question is, why do actually people work without the money? It is because they're really compassionate about the people who are suffering. So essentially, if I have to answer, how what runs the organization, the blood in the veins of the organization is just compassion. It runs out of that, and then there's a lot of passion about bringing about a change. So I think that combines to become something great when everyone meets and stuff happens.
Wow, wow, truly amazing. I think that's really the whole passion, and being compassionate is really truly the essence that all this magic I think you've been able to make true. So I've also read that you are into a lot of research work as well. So Project Up, research work, because I have seen the other NGOs who kind of probably one weekend they'll go contribute, come back. But what I read is Project Up also runs a research, and really want to go up till the grassroots of the problem, and then kind of solve the problem. So how do you do this? I mean, you have I know you have a tie up with the Project Up statecraft as well. So how does two things go hand in hand?
So I think the problem with the Indian development sector, if I have to say, like 5 years back, was the fact that there was no research. So development was only understood that we'll go on the road, we'll give some food to the poor people, or we're gonna go on the road, we're gonna get them some clothes and stuff like that, and that was it. Now, last 5 years, the industry is changing, and it's changing with a lot of research coming in, and it is research that fuels what happens on the ground. So, like a typical normal NGO, which is just goes out there to teach. The essential, there is no pedagogy, so they just go there. A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. It does not really do anything. Honestly, there is no ground impact. They come and they go. Kids go back to their normal life. Nothing changes. The only way to bring about proper education on the ground is to have a pedagogy which suits these people. So you can't teach kids in slum the same way you teach kids in a college, or like the same way you teach kids in a high-end school in Delhi. So that doesn't happen. So there's a lot of research that goes in to come up with good policies. That's number one, and good courses and good pedagogy suitable for their the way they live. Number two, research in India, even in Africa, research is something that's not put in our education system, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is pretty weird. So one of the scholars I was talking to the other day, he happened to mention that the reason that there is no research imbibed in the curriculum of India and other developing nations is the fact that our education system is still colonial. So, quote unquote, our colonial masters did not really want us to research and come up with new things, right? Because if that happens, then we wouldn't be colonies anymore.
Right.
That's how the education system was tailored. It still works that way. So there's no research. So Project Up, the boot camp, and with UNESCO, essentially goes down and changes the education system as an external player, giving out research programs and teaching young people like me, and young people in there from 16 to up until 30, trying to understand how to research, write papers, find new things. If they have an invention, how can they write about it? Writing grants, writing proposals, giving it out to international organizations. So, these things need to be taught so that, the great development that our country really needs in terms of social welfare can actually happen.
Wow, that's awesome. So, if I'm reading it correctly, Vardhan, so your research team is doing the research to bring some changes to the policy itself.
Yeah, so so essentially within our research wing, we're divided into two separate teams. One essentially goes ahead with the academic research. So academic research is all the journal and publishing in journals, coming up with good academia to contribute to the academic literature of the particular discipline,
Mhm.
which is very very important, especially in social sciences, public policy, really
Yeah.
important. And the other half, which is under construction right now, is all the consulting projects that we take up with various agencies or government or private players.
Mhm.
So an example of which and I think your question falls in the ambit of the second research wing.
Mhm.
Essentially, like an example to that is we were working on this issue on manual scavenging,
Mhm.
and how people from quote unquote the lower caste has are still going down there and doing the same work in inhuman conditions. So they go down in the drain, and around 5 to 7 manual scavengers die per week in India, even in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Now that is not done right,
Yes.
and that is against the UDHR, that's against all human rights, that's against the labor laws, against everything. So we just did a very small intervention. We researched on the conditions that they were in. We wrote it down. We wrote a huge lengthy policy brief to all the national action plan parties, and yeah, that's how we tried to bring about a change. We got response from the national action plan to an extent that all the policy recommendations that we gave were duly noted within the national action plan. So I think this acts as a kickstart into bringing about a change.
Wow.
So I think that's why it's pretty necessary.
So, I mean, if I may ask, Vardhan, is it? I mean, so this is like a unique concept for me. I mean, I have not interacted with or read about people that kind of run these kind of helping associations to change policy, etc. So, do you know of other? I mean, so this is like only unique to Project Up, or there are several other people who are also trying to bring change in their own ways.
So there, like the best part about India and developing states is that there are a lot of people trying to, create a change. So yes, definitely, there are like a lot of NGOs who are also working in the same direction. There is a new thing coming up, which is, policy consulting firms. So these are essentially Section 8 companies who consult governments on various, projects, and I think that's pretty cool. And a lot of public policy enthusiasts end up, in one of these firms, which is really good. Apart from that, consulting firms like EY, Deloitte, they have their separate public policy wing, and or the development wing, or the all of that. So these people actually they research well, and they try to put in policies which actually bring about some change. I'm really sorry, my internet is like a little unstable.
No, no,
So
this is
yeah.
pretty much fine here. And Vardhan, what is about this up? I mean, so your girl empower up initiatives project up. So what is your fascination with these two words or two letters, U and P?
So fun fact. Also one like I've never worked with the girl up wala thing, so I don't know about that.
Okay,
But for Project Up, it just came to my head. So we started 2 years back, and we were trying to figure out a name to give to I was essentially trying to figure out what can we call this thing, and this idea essentially. So it just came to my head, and because if you look at Project Up's logo, the U is small and the P is big,
right.
and so essentially it's an upward movement representing just positivity in its truest sense. And there is this kid. So the logo has a lot of story and a lot of emotions connected, but essentially the up is like it just the entire team is so energetic. If you meet them, they're always working, doing stuff, this that, let's do this. So I think it very well reflects how the people at Project Up work. So that's why.
Yeah, true. And Vardhan, what is your vision for 2021? And how do people like me, other, can contribute in efforts if they want to?
Wow. So, so my vision for 21 is slightly different. So currently I am in Niger, which is a country in West Africa. So, my vision for 21 is essentially surrounded around development in Africa, while at the same time, taking care of whatever Project Up has become in India. So, but at this point, I very well trust my team to take care of that endeavor in terms of taking through the vision. So for Project Up, the vision is still 2030. But for 2021, my vision is to at least incubate 3 social enterprises here in Africa. So because this place is lovely and I'm totally enjoying my time here, and I'm essentially working on social entrepreneurship models in the country and in an incubation lab. So if that works out fine, I'm expecting to come up with certain social entrepreneurship projects which can be suitable for development in Africa. Its relation to power that.
Wow, wow. So India and now Africa, huh? So where all places would Vardhan go next?
Like it's like I'll give you an example. My like a lot of people were asking why do you want to go to Niger? Why do you want to work in Africa? So and so forth. The only example I gave them was the reason why all the doctors want to go to AIMS is because there are a lot of problems there, and they get to research and they get to figure out things in an innovative manner. For a person who's into development, I feel if they don't see the problems around the globe, they'll never be able to truly be compassionate. you know so one thing is that yes, you're sitting here in India in your nice room and you're trying to empathize with people who are in Syria. So that is one thing. But the other thing is you're actually in Syria looking at the refugee conditions, and that's when you truly are compassionate, and that's the fuel for your work.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, any place where I try to go and win, right? That's the plan ahead.
Yeah. So what is going on in my head is, Vardhan, in this whole process, I think the whole transformation that is taking place with you as an individual must be incredible. I mean, all the experiences that you are gathering, all the smiles that you are bringing, I'm sure they all have one lessons or learnings, etc., to teach. So what is that one memory that you have as being part of being founder of the Project Up? What is that one memory you have which probably a child or from an unfortunate background kind of remembers even till date, or probably comes back to you and interact with you? Is there a memory that you have to share?
Oh, lot of memories. You ask any person in Projecta, they're gonna be like, who's gone to the field? They'll be like, oh yes, this and that, and so many memories. But there are also memories exclusive just to me. But I'll share this one little story that helped kickstart the entire project. So I was in Egypt. I was working with development development work. I was doing a research on trying to understand how just a high life condition with people like orphans and people who are not in the best condition. How can you really go intervene and have a kind of intervention which can make them productive, academically productive. So that was my research, and that time there was no projector. So it's back in 2017, and when I moved out of Egypt, there was this child who apparently also had cancer. And that was the time I was trying to figure out what I really want to do with my life, because, not really clear. So while I was going back, the child gifted me with a clay pot, and soon after I heard the news that the child was no more.
Oh,
That was the instant when I was like, now I want to really spend the rest of my time working with children. And it's been 3 years, I'm still doing that, I'm enjoying it. Children, students, people who are trying to learn. So I think that particular incident stays with me forever. I even have that clay pot back at my house. So had I been there, I would have shown it to you. But that incident it shook me it shook me and put me to a path in development. It's like initially I used to think that once I get rich, I'll be like super rich, then I'll donate some money, do something like that. But that incident, it made me aware that what you need to do right now.
right now.
So forget about a job, because people are dying. They won't wait for you to get rich, right? So it's like, forget about a job, do what you can right now. And it's been pretty okay for me. Even like financially, it's like fine up until now. So I think if you're passionate with it, it carries you forward.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you, Vardhan. I mean, sitting in a room and dreaming about helping people, it may not happen. And I'm really amazed to see how, you've all through all these years, you've kind of brought happiness to so many people and continue to do that. I mean, really, congratulations to you, Vardhan, and to the Project Up team. I mean, my heart is beating really fast. I mean, to hear all the story that you just stated that changed your life.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So that's all, Vardhan, I had. I was just curious and I really wanted to know, about you, about Project Up. I will continue to be the follower and continue, know that what you've been doing and all achievements
Thank
that
you.
I'm sure you'll, achieve in Africa and India as well. It was really very, very nice talking to you, Vardhan. Is there anything else that
Thank
you
you.
would want to talk about?
Just a fun fact. The kid in Project Up's logo is the same kid I was talking about. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that.
Wow. Vedant, I mean, it's amazing to know you, and we will definitely keep in touch. Thank you so much for your time,
Sure.
and I hope you get some
Thank
rest
you.
to yourself as well. And all the best to the project.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for the good work that you're doing.
Thanks. Nothing compared to what you are doing. I'm just talking. Bye, Vedant. Good to see you and good to meet you and good
Thank
to know
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks to join people.
Likewise.
Bye.